Hi Chris, how are you Chris? Hi there. Hi Angela. Good afternoon, good evening. Hello Lindy, hello there. I'm having to spread out a little bit, I haven't got much room on my desk. Hello Serena, hi there. Good evening Angela, hello there. Hi Linda. Are you cooking tea Chris? A nice curry. Hello Alison. I'll just tell everybody what you're having for tea Chris, because I'm good like that. Hello Burnett, hello there. We're very well, thank you. Are you? Hi Hope. Hi there. How are you? Good evening Lynn. Hello Patricia. Hello there. Are you ready to be inspiring? I'll try my best. Hi Tracy. Hello Ali. Good evening Angela. Hi Sue. Good evening everybody. I hope you're all well. Hello Gina. Another nice surprise. I never decide until I suddenly sit here and think, shall I do a live? Shall I not? What am I going to make? And then I go, oh heck, let's just go live. Hello Sheila. Hello Lynn. Good evening Madeline. Hi Susan. Hope you're well. Good evening Kim. How are you? Whilst hubby cooks. Hey, that's even better Kim if hubby's cooking. Good evening Erica. Hello there. Hello Hanny. Hi Sue. A good time for me, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, that's good, Hope. You can never predict when the best time to go is. My brayer is in such a mess. It's got so many colours on here now. It's actually thick with paint. Hello, Valerie. Hello there. Hi, Jill. Hi, Teresa. Welcome. Good evening. Hi, Sue. Hello, Maria. Good evening. Very bad day at work, so it's whiskey tonight. That sounds really bad, Serena. It's whiskey tonight. Hello, Crafting Carol. Hello there. Hi, Liz. Hello there. Hi, Mimi. Good evening, Karen. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's well. I hope you're all staying safe. Hello, Nicola. Hubby is cooking tea so I can join for a bit. Yay, Sue. And knowing how long I waffle, you'll be saying, I'm just disappearing, Tracy. Tea's ready. Hi, Philippa. Hi, Pip. Hello there. So welcome, everybody. Good evening. Hi, Lynn. There's quite a few Lyns. Hello, Diane. I hope you're well, Diane. Hello, Brian. Hey up, Chuck. Are you all right? I hope you're okay. Hello, Sandra. I'm just messing with my brayer because I like to just move something on the camera, because then if anybody sees it, they know I'm live rather than just sitting here with a frozen picture. Hello, Elizabeth. Hi, Leslie. Good evening, everybody. So I'm just waiting a few moments and then we'll get started. Hello, Gail. Finally get to see you live. My notifications are in isolation. So are mine, Gail. I don't get notifications either. Hi, Belinda. Hi, Sue. How are you, Belinda? Are you feeling any better? Hello, Linda. Bonsoir, Marie. Bonsoir. It's lovely to see you, Belinda. I hope your stomach's improving. I'm staying home and hopefully staying safe. That's exactly what I'm doing, Burnett. Exactly the same. Good evening, Sharon. Good evening. Hello, Beverly, for a short while. Whilst tea cooks. I think Chris Creswell's cooking tea as well. She's having curry, Beverly, just in case you want to know. I've got about 50 minutes before I need to continue dinner. Well, you know that I'm bound to go over that time scale, Catherine, because I can waffle for England. Hello, Pauline. Hi, Sarah John. Yes, I'm fine, our kid. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm very well, Brian. Thank you. A nice messy brayer. I'm doing good, thank you. Oh, brilliant, Belinda. That's good to know. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Oh, I can waffle for England, so you just know that it's going to go over the 50 minutes. If somebody says I've got 50 minutes, I'll be on for 1 hour and 10. You just know what I'm like. I mean, come on. It's just obvious. And Leslie's cooking a curry as well. Everybody's cooking a curry. Leslie's cooking a curry. Chris Creswell's cooking a curry. Oh, bless you, Belinda. Thank you. I'm enjoying the journal at the moment. Just trying to mix it up a little bit. We've got a curry as well. Is it curry day today or something? It's been in the fridge. It's a fridge curry, so I haven't got a clue what's in it. Hi, Margaret. Hello, Flower. How are you? Hello, Eugenie. I will be as long as I can be. She's going to push a luck. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Isabel. waffle on. Chicken dinner here. I think mine's a jacket potato, Karen. It's called boring tea tonight. Jacket potato. In other words, we couldn't be bothered to find anything else for tea, so stick a jacket potato in the oven. That's what it means. I had spaghetti bolognese last night. Tuna and cheese on rice. You see, you're all going to talk about tea now, aren't you? Posh. Oh, I need them doing again, Sharon, but there's no chance. No chance. I love a good waffle. It's a good job, isn't it, really? Curry Monday. It must be Curry Monday. Everybody's got curry on at the moment. Right, let's talk about what we're going to use. We're going to... No, well, not we. Me. Oh, hang on a minute now. Sabrina. Buona Serera. Yes, I can really say that. Welcome, Sabrina. Hi, Holly. Hello there. Hey up, Jan. Hubby and son enjoying chicken fajitas and tortillas. I'm on the wine. Jan, I don't hold up much hope for your pages if you're on the wine. I've got jacket potato and beans. It's called a boring tea because we couldn't be bothered to make anything else. And Diane, my fellow curly-haired friend, is eating an M&S mini hot cross bun. Now, I can eat them. I can eat them. Mackerel in sweet shit. Stop it. I'm just going to be starving. We're having a sausage casserole. I like coming on at tea time. I get to know what you're all eating. Oh, dear. Oh, thanks for sharing, Lynn. Thank you. Right, so these are the colours that I'm going to use today. Now, I know that Brian and Joe, I'm sure it's Brian and Joe, I know it's Joe, I know it's Brian, I think it's Brian, did blue poppies, and I thought I would do blue poppies. I used to have the blue Himalayan poppies in my garden. I can't grow them in this garden, but I used to grow them in my last garden, so I thought I'd opt for blue poppies this time. Sorry you've lost a few days, Brian, it's Wednesday. Oh, it is. It's Wednesday. Oh, do you know, Brian can convince me of anything. I even convinced myself it was Monday. This Facebook Live's just deteriorating. It's Wednesday, Brian. Don't confuse me. Hello, Kay. Hello there. We're having corned beef pie with salad, mac and cheese. Oh, for goodness sake. It's nice to watch. Fed up of staying at home. I just keep staying at home. Hubby is cooking pumpkin risotto. Good grief, that sounds posh, Kim. Pumpkin risotto from the last from our garden. Oh, I'm very impressed. Hello, Yvonne. Hi, James. James is getting dinner sorted as well. Thanks for sharing, James. Thanks, Eugenie. You're so right. It's Wednesday. Brian, don't confuse me. It's oh, for goodness sake. Right, so I'm not listening to you lot because you'll just get me on the wrong days of the week. So what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using turquoise and aquamarine paper artsy fresco finish paints. Now the only prep, thankfully the mic isn't by your tummy, Tracy. It's a good job, Diane, put it that way. Stop it. So the only thing I've prepped is I've cut out a couple of poppies and a watering can. That's it. So everything else I haven't prepped. Hello, Chantel. Hello there. Welcome, Chantel. So I'm going to start with these two colours. Now, the reason that I'm working on an angle... Hello, Chris. The reason I'm working on an angle is because you need to see me braying here, and I've got a double page spread, so I need to. A non-working day is always Wednesday, if that helps. Hello, Ruby. Hello there. Oh, and thanks to Holly, I made it. Bless Holly. Bless Holly. Right, let's start with these two colours. So what I'm going to do now, if you want to do your journal pages where you just do one journal page and then do the second journal page separately, that's entirely up to you. I'm quite enjoying having a couple of journal pages done at the same time where they sort of flow, but they don't look the same. So a few of my journal pages sort of flow into the second page. So that's the way I like doing them. Not with every page, but I have done it for the last few pages where they sort of flow across the page. So that's what I'm aiming for. And I've just picked a page, willy-nilly, just picked a page. And Clintine will message now and say, what does willy-nilly mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my colours. I like the matching pages, Belinda. They just appeal to me. Oh, hang on, Joe's, we're getting a bog off tonight. Buy one, get one free. Yes, you are. Liking the own pages, watching you in my car, eating an ice cream cone. Oh, Danielle, sounds lovely. Hello, Michelle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this paint. So I've got the aquamarine. Just give my paint a little shake. I've got the aquamarine and the turquoise. The aquamarine and the turquoise. And what I like to do is I like to add the colours here and then brayer first, rather than add the colours directly onto here, because you can make a blotchy mess. And I don't want to make a blotchy mess. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Nola. Hello there. So I don't want to make a blotchy mess. So what I like to do is I like to add layers of paint. So I like to brayer mine out. So I like to brayer my paint out just so that I've got, let me just move my journal, just so that I've got a sort of a nice quantity of paint on my brayer. Oh, owl pages. Oh, thank you, Gina. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my paint to my page. And if you can see, I keep adding it even when the paint feels dry on the brayer. And then I'll go back to the paint again. And I just want to brayer that like so. Now you might see that I've got a slight like scrapey line here. That's on purpose. My brayer is quite thick with paint. That's all it means. It's quite thick with paint and it needs to be cleaned. That's all it is. But that for me just adds to the texture. So I'm just adding layers of paint. Now this at the moment doesn't do anything. Oh, yesterday, are you tonight, my lovely? I am, Stacey. I'm on tonight. Oh, I'm very well, Stacey. I do beg your pardon. I can't read. I can just about craft, but I can't read. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm just adding the dry layers of paint just to add texture at the moment. At the moment, this page does nothing. It's just one layer. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take the aquamarine. I'm going to take the aquamarine. I will add some lines as well anyway, Chantel. That's why it doesn't matter. So I'm adding the aquamarine, which is the paler colour. And I'm going to add the aquamarine on the top. I will lift this up so you can see all the texture from the page. Just so you can see the texture from the page. And if you notice, I'm not brayering all the way round the page. I'm not brayering all the way round. So this is just called my first layer of paint. And I'm going to continue by adding more of the lighter colour, which is the aquamarine. And I'm sorry it's at a slight angle. I'm trying to keep the page just so that it's in camera. So I'm just adding slightly thicker layers of paint now. So what I'd suggest you do is you start with light layers and then you add a thicker layer of paint, but you do it a little bit at a time. You don't want to add too much. Hi, Roz. Hi, Karen. My 5 little ones are resting. Oh, bless them, Karen, bless them. So I'm just adding, let me just lift this up so you can see the texture. You can see the texture in the paint, and I'm just adding layers of that paint. And I'm just putting it right up to the camera so you can see that I'm adding layers of that paint. Now, I don't just finish like that. I continue to add that layer. The reason I'm adding the layers of paint, and I don't want to add the dark layer because I don't want it to be a really dark page. So what I'm going to do is continue to add these paint layers. And I was just reading Belinda's comment then. The texture looks like you've got string. Exactly. It's just from the layers of paint. That's all it is. It's just from the layers of paint. Now, you won't get this if you don't add light layers of paint. You can't get this if you add thick layers of paint all in one go. You need to add light layers of paint. What was that? Stacey said they had the jelly plate on her chanda. They did, and I can't wait to get mine. Oh, you'll enjoy your jelly plate. I was playing with mine the other day. With a journal page. So I'm quite happy with that at the moment. But I want to add more layers. So I'm just going to clean my work area. No, I'm working in a journal, Karen. I'm working in an 8x8 inch journal. So I'm just going to clean my dry paint up because it's now dry on my non-stick craft sheet. It's actually a journal, Karen, and it's 8x8 inches. So I'm just cleaning up my mess just so that I can work with another layer, because I don't just want to leave it like that. I want to take my time. Oh no, that's not good, Serena. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some gesso. And we're going to add to those layers. So what I'm going to do is take some gesso onto my non-stick craft sheet. And what I'm going to do is use my palette knife. And I'm going to pick up the gesso onto my palette knife. And I'm going to scratch that across my page. I'm going to scratch the gesso across my page. And you need to do that nice and randomly. Because you're building up layers. And everybody's saying sorry to Serena. So we're just building up layers of that gesso. So you're doing it quite randomly. You don't want to sort of be too regimented about it. You're just adding another layer. Well, you don't worry about it, because if it goes wrong, Gail, you can brayer over the top again. So it's not a problem. So don't worry about that. You can brayer over the top again. So just picking up the gesso with my palette knife, like so. And then just wipe your area again. So we're just building up the layers slowly. Could I work a second job as a plasterer? Could you imagine the walls? I'd never end up keeping them just with the plaster on. I'd end up grooving out designs. I'd end up put grooved designs on the wall, Belinda. I'd end up grooving out some kind of design. So just so you can see what we've got at the moment. Now I'm going to continue this along here. So don't worry, Gail, if you get it completely wrong and say you make a complete and utter hash, go back to those light layers of paint again with the brayer and brayer over the top again. And all as you'll do is add some wonderful texture to your page. This isn't finished yet. It's a lesson in adding layers very slowly. Now what I want to do is I want to have a second page. I would write my name on the walls, Belinda, because I'm very childish like that. So I'm now going to add some detail here. So what I want to do is add the same colours to my non-stick craft sheet. So I'm adding a little bit of the aquamarine. I am very childish. My gesso is like runny white paint. I do have a good quality gesso. I'm very good at, I don't like the very watery gessos. They don't do nothing for me. So I don't, this gesso's not expensive. It was $4.99. But I do like the Pebbio gesso, so I do like that one. So I'm hoping, so at the top of my page, you can't see it in camera, are two blobs of paint. And I'm just adding my credit card through the paint. And all I'm going to do is just add some scratchy lines down my page, like so. So I've just got acrylic paint on the edge of my credit card. Yes, no, I didn't. I just put gesso on with a palette knife, Karen. I put gesso on with a palette knife. So what I'm doing now is I've got the 2 colours of paint on my credit card. I've got the 2 colours of paint on my credit card. And what I'm doing is I'm echoing what's on this page. I'm echoing what's on this page by adding the colours, and I'm sort of scraping down. I'm scraping down with my credit card. I sort of swipe it down a little bit. Hello, Betty. Hello there. So I'm just adding some scratchy lines. So I've got a little bit of paint on my credit card. Just a little bit of paint on my credit card. You're very welcome, Karen. And I'm just adding some scratchy lines just to the page on the opposite side. And now I'm almost using all the paint that is on the credit card. Now, when you do this, just add a little bit of paint to your credit card. Don't add big globules of paint. Don't add big globules, because that's where you'll go wrong. And add a very light touch, a very light touch. So just be a little, exactly if you wanted it to be, if you'd got some sea theme stamps, you could add this as water. So we're just adding some scratchy lines. Now, obviously, journal pages are all done in different ways. Everybody does a journal page in different ways. It's entirely up to you how you do that journal page. For me, journaling is about freedom of speech, freedom of personality. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to do journaling a certain way. It's your journal, it's your book. You can do whatever you want in it. And that's the good thing about it. There are no rules. You can just enjoy what you're doing. There are no rules at all. So let's just move this paint and move my book onto one side so you can see it. So you can see what I've got so far. This is what we've got so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug in my heat tool. Just plugging in my heat tool and just going to give this a little dry. Yeah, I bet my husband would wish I only used the credit card for that as well. Exactly, Chris. It's a personal expression. It's not about somebody says journaling has to be done this way. Journaling has to be done that way. No, it doesn't. This is your book. This is your journal. If you want to finger paint in it for the next 50 pages, you finger paint in it. It's the way your journal is the way you express yourself. That's it. I'm using my journal to express myself with my stamps. I'm using my journal to express myself with stamps, and also so that I've got a permanent record of looking back on projects, so that if I'm lacking in inspiration, I've got something to look back on. I finally got a quiet heat tool for Christmas. I can hear Tracy while I'm drying stuff. I don't know whether that's a good thing, Carol, or a bad thing. Right, I'm now going to use this stencil. I'm now going to use this stencil, which is, what's it called? Pebble Pile. So I'm going to use this stencil, the Pebble Pile. I just wanted to make sure that was nice and dry. You see, fingerprinting's great fun, Brian. And when you do fingerprinting, it's wonderful because you never know quite what you're going to get. I love it. I sounded like Forrest Gump then. You never know what you're going to get. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the turquoise. I just want us to use our products, not leave them sitting there. And I'm also aware that on some YouTube videos and some other videos, I know that some people do say, it's their prerogative, obviously, but some people do say, oh, you're supposed to do it this way, or you're supposed to do it that way. I'm a great believer in no. It's a journal is self-expression. If you just want to scribble in yours with 150 words and paint over it, it's your book. Nobody's there to tell you how you do your pages. Exactly, Serena. Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm now going to add the turquoise. So I'm just adding a blob of turquoise paint. And I keep forgetting. I keep going towards the furthest end of my craft sheet. So let's just move this out the way. Let me just move my journal onto my knee because it's the only way I can do it. Let's move my journal on my knee. So what I'm going to do now is take the turquoise and just add the turquoise paint over the stencil. Just add the turquoise paint over the stencil. And I'm just going to spritz it with water. I'm just going to spritz the stencil with water. Exactly, Belinda. Try some Zentangle. Why not? So I've just spritzed my stencil with water and I'm just going to place it onto my background. And I'm just going to get a clean piece of kitchen roll because everybody journals in a different way. And we all journal in a different way. We all make cards in a different way. And I just think it's a good way to use up your products and look back on them. So I'm just adding this stencil. Now you can use any stencil that you wish, any stencil that floats your boat, any stencil, any stamp set that you wish. So I'm just adding that there. I'm just allowing it to sit. And it just gives me a little bit of detail. Can you see in the background? Let me just see if the camera. It just gives you a lovely little bit of detail in the background. And I'm just going to repeat that process. I'm going to repeat that process once more, again, just because I want a little bit more stenciling. I have several small journals. Exactly. You could have a small journal for your Zentangling. Whatever floats your boat. Don't let anybody say to you that you can't do something because it's self-expression. You can do whatever you wish. It looks like a quality. Does it look like a Quality Street Gale? So I'm just adding a little bit more stenciling just to the background. 103. Is that the number of the stencil? Yes, the number of the stencil is 103. Thank you very much, Joe. Joe is on the ball. It's 103. So I've just added that to my page, okay? Now, I'm leaving the page at an angle because I want to add the same stenciling to the other page. So I'm just going to bray it once again. So I'm using the turquoise paint because the turquoise is slightly darker. It's slightly darker, so shows up, but it's still tone on tone. I like journal as you can keep a lot of work in a small space. Yes, you can, Margaret. I like the fact you can look back. I love the fact that you can look back on your pages and you can feel inspired in a different way. You can feel inspired in a different way. Now, you know, I used to do journaling a long time ago, but I haven't done it for a while because I've done other things. But, you know, we're all different. So I'm just going to add this stenciling to this page. I think Janet Pring did a card where she Zentangled. Yes, she did, Belinda. Yes, she did. You can Zentangle in stencils. You can Zentangle just on your book. You can draw yourself your own image and Zentangle. No problem at all. Hi, Rizwana. Hello there. How are you, Rizwana? So I'm just allowing that paint to sit. Now, what I like is, I'm just going to give my stencil a little wipe, but what I like is when my pages complement each other, but they don't look the same. I like them to complement, but not look exactly the same. So that's what I'm aiming for. So I'm just going to clean my stencil. I'm just going to clean my stencil so it doesn't get ruined and we can have a chin wag. It's round and flat. It's a tin of different colour chocolate. I do worry about Gail. Hello, Natalie. And I've come back today. Thank you, Natalie. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We're going for blue this time. So Joe and Brian have been using blues with their poppies. And I do like blue. And I do think it's nice for the poppy. So I decided to go for the blue. So I'm just mopping up my dry layers of paint because the fresco finish paints dry a little bit quicker. So I'm just mopping that up just so that we don't get in a total mess. So I'm just mopping that up. It's not interesting to watch me mopping up, but hey ho. we have to clean up because we've only got a small space. So this is what we've got so far. So my wish list keeps getting long. Hey, Pauline, my wish list is always long, trust me. So as you can see, each page, the pages look like they complement each other, but they don't look the same. It means I can do 2 pages, enjoy myself, but they don't look exactly the same. So I'm just going to give it, do I need to give it a little dry? No, it's fine. I'll just blot just to make sure that we've not totally soaked in paint. No, we're not. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue with those layers. And I'm going to begin with my numerator stamp. I'm going to use the numerator stamp, and I'm going to use Warm Breeze. My husband worries about me when I watch you, Tracy. He knows he's going to go. Hey, Christine, you should see some of my typing. Whenever I'm typing and messaging June, my typing's dreadful. I'm glad I caught you lice, Tracy. Oh, bless you, Vanessa. I will be doing lots of circles because when I know you buy something, I try to make sure I offer lots of inspiration. So what I'm going to do, what colour was this? What colour was this? Warm Breeze. So I'm using Warm Breeze, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up, and obviously you would put your stamp down on a flat surface. I'm holding it up so you can see what I'm doing. That's the only reason I'm holding it up, just so you can see what I'm doing. Normally you would hold it onto a flat surface. So just so you can see, I've inked this area here. Oh, brilliant, Chris. I'm glad you got some lovely stamps and stencils. Hello, Dawn. So I've just inked this area here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more layers to my background. I'm just going to add some more layers to my background. And then there's some things you need to be aware of afterwards. Let's just, I can't move. Let's just dump this on the floor. There you go. So I've just added those numbers, and we've still got more work to do to it. So what I'm going to do is just clean that stamp, just so that I don't spread, because I want a different area of the stamp. Do I want a different area of the stamp? No, I don't. I've changed my mind. I want the same area. Each time I try to get rid of stuff, I just end up adding more. Oh, thank you, Chantal. So this idea of the blue on blue came from my Embracing the Blues workshop. The reason, what I like to do is I like to be able to show you that even though you've got an idea or you've taken a workshop, we can always use that idea or that colour concept in a different way. I don't like to just leave you with one idea. So I'm just going to ink up some more of that stamp again. I'm just going to ink up some more of the stamp again. Just inking up the same area all over again. And it's entirely up to you how much you add and how much you don't add. Just don't want that 3 there. So I'm just adding this area here. And what I'm going to do is add this down here. And what you have to remember is I'm also thinking on my feet. I didn't use my paint for a while, Margaret, because I went to inks. But what I'm trying to do is show you different ways to use your stamps. So can you see I've now got these 2 areas here. So I want to add a little bit of stamping to my opposite page. So I'm going to add a little bit of stamping to my opposite page. Then I just need to explain something. So I'm just going to add an echo, a little bit of the stamping on the previous page. On the opposite page, not the previous page, Tracy. So I'm just going to add a little bit of stamping on this page. I'm the same. Good job he's not bothered about paying bills, otherwise I'd be in trouble. Oh, you're replying to Hope. I do all my ordering from my craft room and I pay the bills so hubby doesn't know anything. Sounds perfect to me. So what I've got now is, let me just remove my ink pad and let me just explain about the stamping. So with the stamping here, you've got stamping here that has been added to a page that is porous. In other words, it's not got no layers on here, it's on the page. This here has been stamped onto paint and gesso, and because it's been stamped onto paint and gesso, you need to blot it. You need to blot it because that VersaFine Clair ink has got a good open time and it will stay wet because it's not on a porous surface. Had my dinner and hubby is washing up. Hey, Christine, that's brilliant. So you need to blot it, and this is why you need to blot it, because you're not stamping onto a porous surface. That layers of paint and everything, it will, you know, make a mess. Sorry to be a nuisance, but what number is the stamp? Hang on a second, Ros. It's stamp set 400, Ros. Stamp set 400, and it's called Numerator. Numerator. No problem, Teresa. Catch you later, Flower. So it's Numerator 400. So if you don't blot it, you get this ink off, and you have to blot it several times. You can't just not blot, because you're stamping onto gesso and you're stamping onto paint. Look how much ink comes off. A lot of ink comes off there. So what you need to do now is dry it a bit. I find this stamp really useful, Chris. I must admit, I do find it useful. But I'm hoping to bring out a few more cutie stamps as well, just so I appeal to a wider audience as well. So I'm going to try and mix things up a bit as well. So I'm just giving this a dry, just to make sure. But I always think it's important to blot first, just so that you don't get no smudging, and then give it a dry. Then give it a dry. Don't be in too much of a rush not to do the job properly. Blot on the landscape. I do, Jane. I do. But I'm going to use them in the way I use them, Chris, when I do them. So I'm going to use them in the way I use them. So now, so also what I'm going to do is you just test your other side of your page. Just test it to make sure it's dry, and it's dry. So that's perfect, because that's porous. This isn't, because you had those layers of gesso and you had those layers of paint. That's why it's not porous. Exactly, the different shades of blue you can get from one ink pad, because that's darker, this is lighter, because depending on what you stamp onto. Sort of, a bit of both, sort of, Chris, but obviously with my other style as well. But I want to try and appeal to a wider audience, and also show that, I also want to show that cute can be used in mixed media as well. So I'm always aware that I do a lot of workshops, a lot of Facebook Lives. I've got to try and keep you interested and try and keep you motivated. The next release is due mid-February, and it will be in 2 parts. As far as I know, it's in 2 parts. So it's only a small release for me. It's one release, then another little release. Oh, don't worry, Chris. A few of them may be very different, Chris, but there'll also still be a few that are, you know, typical Tracy style. And don't forget, the cute will be done in Tracy style as well. So definitely. And I just think it's important as a designer not to get too stagnant, not to get too stale and mix it up. But you still have to stay true to your style. You have to still stay true to your style. So what I'm going to do now is, are we having any clues? No. Too bad they don't fit into Defecto. I like to be varied. I don't want to get stagnant. So what I'm going to do now, if you can see, this is meant to be a background. This is meant to be a background. I love the gardening bug themes. Oh yes, there still may be sort of things involved, but I like to mix it up for you as well. So, and this spoil sport. I love how Bernie says spoil sport. So this, I want in the background. I don't want this here and this here to look like it's the focal image. I don't want it to look like it's the focal image. Whoops, here I am from New Hampshire. Hello, Susan. It's well used, isn't it, Chris? Everything of mine is well used. So what I'm going to do now is get a bit of... How are you supposed to show this when there's no room on screen? Get a little bit of gesso again. Just get a little bit of gesso again. And what I'm going to do is pick the gesso up on my palette knife, and you're just going to make sure there's just a bit, and you're just going to go over with your palette knife. You're just going to scrape over with your palette knife just to pare it back a little bit. Let me bring the... Now I've got... Let me pick the gesso up, then I can wipe up the gesso so I can move my... So just bring this in so you can see it, and I'm just going to go over with a touch of the gesso, just so that it's more in the background and not the foreground. Just so it's more in the background. And plus I want to add a bit of gesso to this page. Just to add a bit of gesso to this page. Hello, Lindy. What did Brian say? Nest stagnant. Bless Brian. 4 inches of snow. Wow. And it only snows once every 5 years. Oh, I bet it was lovely. I bet it was lovely. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding some gesso to this second page because I want it to all look like it's meant to be. I'll hold this up just so you can see it. I'll wipe my palette knife just to show willing for Chris that I actually do wipe it now and then. My favourite snow. Oh, how lovely. Oh, Valerie got a frayed burlap. So let me just hold this up. Can you see that I've got a little bit of gesso here just to coordinate with the gesso on the previous page? So we've got some gesso here just so that it adds texture. And can you see I've added gesso here just so that it pairs it back a little bit, just so that it pairs these numbers back a little bit. And also I've added the gesso here to pare back some of that colour on the ink, just to pare it back a little bit. So I've added some of that gesso to pare it back. Hello, Sheila. Hello there. Right, let's get on to some stamping. It is a stencil, Liz. It's stencil 103 Pebble Pile. It's this one. Stencil 103 Pebble Pile. Oh, thank you, Jane. Thanks, Brian. So what we need to do now is some stamping. And what I want first is I want one of the pots. So I'm going to use this pot here that you can't see because I'm not holding it against a white background because I'm such a professional. So I'm going to use this plant pot here. That's the one I'm going to use. So grab yourself, move your, what's this called? Journal. Move your journal out of the way. And let's do some stamping. So let's do some stamping. So first of all, we need to stamp our plant pot. We need to stamp our plant pot. So I'm going to stamp the plant pot like so. And you can just stamp this onto scrap paper because I did already colour one somewhere on my page. I've already coloured one. So we want a plant pot. Trace, your ants would look fab with the rock looking stencil. Yes, they would, Belinda. Yes, they would. They would. So I've got that. And what I want to do now is just stamp. I've added the poppies. So I've added 2 of the poppies. I've got 2 of the poppies from the poppy stamp set. And what I've done is I've added them to my acrylic block. And I've just I've sort of bent one of the stems. I've bent one of the stems just so it's bent on there. I love using the pots. And I'm just going to stamp the poppies. I'm just going to stamp the poppies. and then I'll decide whether I want to stamp them on the page or not. And I have done the colouring, so you don't have to watch me cut out of the colouring. I've got black ink all over my finger. Very professional. We have been trying to tidy mine too, but I'm catching up with ink it, layer it. Oh yes, because there's quite a lot of work in that. So I've just stamped the poppies, and I'm just going to wipe my fingers because I've just got paint and ink all over them. Just take a few minutes. So I want the poppy heads from them. That's all I'm using that for, the poppy heads. So you'll be pleased to know I've cut out the poppy. No, that's the pot. Oh, for goodness sake. I've cut out the pot and I've just coloured it slightly with polychromo pencils. I don't have that set. Shock horror. I love Bernie when she starts talking. It's like she's talking to herself. So I've got the pot and I've just added a tiny bit of colour with a polychromo pencil, and it's a pale blue one. So I've just used one of my polychromo pencils in a pale blue. And what I'm going to do is bring in my journal. I'm just going to bring in my journal. There's just not enough room here. I need a desk and I need a camera that's about 9 foot across. I need a camera with a bigger screen 9 foot across. So what I want to do is I want to add my pot here with some poppies here. So sometimes what I find is in the journal it's very difficult to stamp, but luckily because of what we're going to do. Oh, have you bought the stag beetle, Jenny? Oh, bless you, and the poppies, thank you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp on here, but it doesn't matter if I don't get a perfect impression because of all this paint, but that doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do, now do not do what I'm doing. Do not ink your stamp up on your page because you're bound to drop your black ink pad onto your page. So don't do as I'm doing, because I'm just doing that because I'm trying to stay in camera so that you can see me. So don't do as I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm judging where I want my poppies. So around about here is where I want them. So just stamp them. And it doesn't matter if you don't get a perfect impression because I'll cut out the poppy heads. It's horrifying, isn't it, Belinda, when you drop a black ink pad onto your page. Don't do that. You don't want a black ink pad on your page. So you just want the stems. So there's your poppies. And again, because you've stamped, Tracy, could you do a live using the poppy stamps as cards? As I am a veterans group, and it's clearly, yeah, I'll actually show you it as a card because I've done it as a card already, Gail, on an 8" by 8" card. So what I'm going to do, oh, I did that the other day. The ink pad dropped on the card. You see, that's a nightmare. So because I've used that black ink, I need to make sure it's blotted because you're stamping onto a surface that isn't porous. So can you see that you lift up the black ink? So you need to make sure that you're not impatient and you blot your image. Don't be impatient. If you want to use your heat tool, use your heat tool. But even if you're using your heat tool, I would recommend that you still blot. I'm just a great believer in blotting, especially when you're working on a non-porous surface. So just make sure that you blot. Right, what I want to do now, so this is where my pot's going. Bring my poppies back in. I've just chucked my stamp set somewhere. Where did I chuck the poppies? Just bear with me while I try and find the stamp that I've just chucked all over the place, because I'm good like that. Just put that there. So what I'm going to do now, let me just take the poppy stamp and just see if I want another one. Just see if I want another one. Yes, I'm going to have 3 poppies. I'm going to have 3 poppies. Only just seen you live. It's not a problem. Not a problem at all. Don't worry that you've only just seen the live. You can always catch it on catch up, because I'll put it on YouTube as well. I will place it on YouTube as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 flowers. I'm going to add 3 just because I like the random number of 3. And again, it doesn't matter if I don't get a perfect impression, because I've got the stamps to put on the top. So don't worry if you don't get a perfect impression. That doesn't matter. Just blot. Oh yes, the arcade, the VersaFine Clair is much better. You just have to be aware that when you're stamping on a surface that's non-porous, you do have to blot and you do have to heat dry. Just don't get too impatient. So what we've got here is the pot goes here, like so. And what we've got is we've got the poppy heads here that I've coloured with polychromo pencils. I've coloured them with polychromo pencils. So we add these on the top, like so. So I'm just going to add these on the top. Forget dinner, but I did that yesterday. No, don't you forget dinner, Belinda. You've already lost too much weight. You don't need to be forgetting dinner. I'll hold these poppies up so that you can see them, because I just want to add another detail to the poppies. So just stamp these, just add them, and I've just coloured them with polychromo pencils. Just coloured them with polychromo pencils. Obviously, I'm always aware of time, and you don't want to watch me colour in. So I am aware of time. So I'm just adding the poppies. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Jane. So I'm just adding this here, like so. Now, what I want to do, if you want to make this pop a little bit more, now you can use your Posca pen if you want, but I always find to add a little bit brighter white, I'm going to use Snowflake White paint. Keep it in camera, Tracy. I'm going to use Snowflake White paint. And you can use the end of a paintbrush if you want, the reverse end of a paintbrush. I'm using a Pergamano tool. Using a Pergamano tool. Thanks, Gail. And I'm just going to dip my Pergamano tool into the paint. And then I'm just going to add some white dots to my poppy. So I'm just using a Pergamano tool. You can use the end of a paintbrush, a fine paintbrush, and add the dots to your poppy, just to make it pop a little bit more. Let me just hold this up for you so you can see how much that white makes a difference. Let me see if I can actually get the camera angle properly. Just so you can see how the white, it does make it pop. Just so you can see that. But we haven't finished yet. We haven't finished yet. Unfortunately, I've got to wipe this paint up because I need the space for my other page. Because we need to think about the other page. Bye, Serena. No problem at all, Flower. See you soon. Take care. So I'm just wiping up and just moving to this next page. We've not finished. Yes, or a cocktail stick. Exactly, Jane, or a cocktail stick. Now I want to work on this page. So what I've got is, where's it gone? I've decided there's too much stuff here. I've now stamped this image. I've pre-stamped this image. So I've pre-stamped this image. Let me show you. I've pre-stamped the watering can. And I've coloured it in the same way. I've coloured it in the same way. And what I want to do is add the watering can here. Yeah, any tip of any kind will work. It just gives you nice little blobs. I don't want my poppy inside my watering can. It's going to the side of my watering can. So the watering can is beautiful, but we still need to add details yet. Let me put something on my page so it stops lifting up so that you can see it. Let me just put that on my page so you can see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this poppy first. And I don't want the poppy in the watering can because that's my prerogative. If you want to put it inside the watering can, that's entirely up to you. I don't want mine in the watering can. So I've literally stamped the poppy and cut the poppy out. And then I've got the watering can that I want it to sit on the side like so. Okay, but we're not going to stick that down for now. What I've got is I've got a little piece of lollipop stick. So I've got a lovely little piece of lollipop stick. Now, you could do this as 2 cards if you wanted to. You could do it as 2 cards. The lines are made with an old credit card. I made them with an old credit card, Helen. I just scratched them with an old credit card. I can't even find my credit card now. That's what comes when you use 270 different things. I just used an old credit card, Helen, and you'll be able to rewind and watch from the beginning, but it's just with an old credit card. So I've got a little bit. What size is that pad and what make, please, Tracy? This is an 8-inch Diane Reevely journal. Is that what you mean, Linda? It's an 8-inch Diane Reevely journal. So what I've got here is a little bit of lollipop stick. So let's just move the journal out of the way for a minute. Thanks, Janet. Let's just move it out of the way for the minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the pot stamp. We're going to get the pot stamp and we're going to use the figures. So we could use figure 2, figure 3, figure 1, figure 4, whichever you want. So I'm going to use it on the acetate. I'm not going to put it on an acrylic block just for the lollipop stick. Oh, good. I'm glad I got the right thing, Linda. I'm glad I got the right thing. Yes, it's the 8-inch Diane Reevely journal. So I'm just stamping figure 4 onto my lollipop stick. Bring my journal back in again. And this is why I like journals. We can experiment. We can experiment. And guess what? If it doesn't work, we can just gesso over the whole lot. If it doesn't work, we can gesso over it all. So it's not a problem at all. So what I want to do now is get my adhesive for my watering can. So just add the adhesive to my watering can. Like so. Just place it on one side there for the minute. And just get the adhesive on my lollipop stick. Get my adhesive on my lollipop stick. I'm multitasking here, so that I can get it in the right place. So what I want to do is add my lollipop stick and my watering can at the same time, just so that it looks like it's in the watering can. That's better. Just so it looks like it's in the watering can. Let me hold that there. Just going to press that down just to make sure it's stuck properly. My journal is larger, but since I already had it, I make exactly, Belinda, make use of it. Not a problem at all. So I'm just making sure that the adhesive is stuck. Just make sure that adhesive is stuck. So just give it a few minutes just to stick. You don't want to be in a rush just so that it doesn't stick properly. Just take your time with it. You don't want it to be in too much of a rush. So now I feel like my journal pages are coming together. I feel like I've got the theme, I've got the balance, and now I don't want to over clutter it. I don't want to over clutter it too much. So I don't want to clutter it too much. I'm just going to add, oops, don't touch the camera, Tracy, as I'm just going to add a little bit of shading to the bottom of this pot, just so it doesn't look like it's, that one's okay, just so it looks like it isn't, you know, just in midair. I want to make sure that I add some of the white dots to this poppy. So let's add some of the white dots. Now, if you wanted to add everything to one page, you could add everything to one page if you wanted. You don't have to do a double journal page spread. If you don't want to do a double journal page spread, then you could always add them to cards. You don't have to do a double page spread. So it's entirely up to you. Let me show Gail. If I was doing them on cards, Gail, This is the cards. This had the pot underneath. If you're doing it on cards, you'd work on 8 by 8 inch and do it in the same way on a card rather than in the journal. So I'm just adding the dots to my poppy just to make it pop a little bit more, just to make the pot pop a little bit more. And what I'll do is I'll just add 3 little dots to my little watering can, and I'll just add 3 little dots. I didn't stick my pot down, did I? I didn't stick my pot down. So let's stick the pot down. We didn't stick that down. So stick the pot down. Forgot about the pot. And I think the little numbers to the pot and watering can. I bought a scrapbook from Wilkington's to use as a journal. It works really well. That's brilliant, Linda. I love using this because it takes the water and the ink and the paint. We all have lots of things that we can use. So I'm just adding the dots. I will show you this. I will lift it up afterwards. I'm just adding the dots to my pot. Just adding the dots to my pot and my watering can. And just making sure I'm happy with everything. Yeah. So what I want to do now is I want to add some scratchy white lines as well. You're very welcome, Gail. So you could do these just as cards as they are, because what you do is you could cut it 6 by 6 inches if you wanted to, Gail, because this would work well on 6 by 6 or 8 by 8. So I'm just going to add some scratchy white lines to my page because I want the scratchy white lines, because it will help to make the page pop. So I'm just adding some scratchy white lines to my page. So just take your time. Got to go for dinner. No problem, Brian. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your dinner. So I'm just going to add some scratchy white lines to my page. And I will lift it up so you can see the white lines. I will lift it up so you can see the white lines. I love adding the scratchy white lines. In fact, I could get addicted to it. And then I want to add some touches of black. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Pauline. So I'm just going to add some touches of black now. I'm going to add some touches of black because I just want to add some touches of black. But let me just hold it up for you, just so you can see. Just so you can see, this is how we're going so far. I mean, the camera is quite good. You can see when I hold it down, but just so you can see the white dots, the little details, just so you can see them. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some touches of black. I'm going to add some touches of black. So I'm going to use my washi tape. I love just messing in the journal. Oh, bless Karen. I just love messing in my journal. There's just something about the journal that I just love. So I'm just adding some washi tape. I just want to add some washi tape. And I love the journal because it really, really doesn't matter if you make a complete bodge. If you make a complete bodge, it really doesn't matter. So now I'm adding some little details. It's the little details that finish your page off. I'm never in a rush to add these little details. So I'm just, washi tape stuck to my finger. Put your washi tape down, Tracy. So I'm just adding some little details to my pages. Like so. I'm just adding some elements of black. Oh, I'm glad you're going to have a go. And on my washi tape is the word plant. On my washi tape is the word plant. Or if you've got the pear one, you could do that one. No problem, Betty. Lovely to see you. So I'm going to add the word plant to my pot, like so. And I'm going to add a little bit of black to this page as well. Don't be in a rush not to add those finishing touches. Sometimes those finishing touches are what make the page sing. They're what make it. And for me, the finishing touches are my favourite bit. I love faffing. I love faffing. Oh, brilliant, Hope. Brilliant. I've loved seeing everybody's journal pages. I just think they're fantastic. And was it Christine that did a different colour? I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I'm just adding my washi tape. And again, I'll lift the pages up so you can see them. But in camera, it's got quite a good angle there. It's got quite a good angle. And all I've used is a tiny bit of washi tape. I've not cut any new off. I'm still using the same piece. I'm still using the same piece of washi tape. So, and when you rip these little bits, use them as well. Use your little bits as well. Just to add to your page. I love using washi tape and bits. I don't necessarily like using the whole clump. I don't like my pages to look too clumpy. If they look too clumpy, I don't like it. I'm just going to add some here. So on some washi tapes, I'm very careful how I add them. It just depends on the washi tape about how I add them. That's it. Don't glue your two pages together, Tracy. So what I'm going to do now is just, I struggle learning where it wants to tear. What I do is sometimes if it won't tear, I use a little bit of scissors to start it off and then tear it. I do it that way. What I want to do now is just do a bit of shading. So I'm going to add, let's just sharpen my pencil because it's not very sharp. No problem. See you Friday, Flower. See you Friday, Karen. See you Friday. I'm just sharpening my pencil because it's just awful. Exactly, you can just remove it, Belinda. But I like this word plant as well here. So I might find some more of that word plant just to add it a bit more. And I often find that sometimes we're in a rush to add the finishing touches. And sometimes it's easy when you're doing a Facebook Live. You can be a bit rushed because obviously you're aware of time. But I always said that when I started these journal pages that I wouldn't rush them and that they would also be suitable for other projects, whether you were doing a canvas, a mixed media piece, a card, because, you know, let's face it, not everything appeals to everybody. So it's nice just to offer variety. So that's what I'm trying to do with the journal pages. Bless Vanessa. I just look at, exactly, Kate, I look at mine as a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper and you can be inspired however you want. But with journaling, I know that some people say there's strict rules. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that I know there's strict rules when it comes to colours and things, but I'm a great believer that if you're happy in what you're doing, then you go for it. And that's what it's about. Being creative is enjoying it. It's not about feeling like you've got to be pressurised into producing something perfect every single time, because you haven't. So I'm just shading this out. I'm just shading this out. And I'm loving my journal at the moment. I'm enjoying taking the time and enjoying the process. So would I, to Linda. Live on, oh, you'd love to see a live on colouring and shading. What you have to remember is I'm not an expert on colouring and shading. I just do what works for me. Obviously, I'm not an expert. There are some very, very talented ladies out there and gentlemen that colour superbly. You know, I can show you how I colour and what works for me, but obviously I'm, you know, not artistic quality. I'm not super professional. It's amazing clip when you, oh, I love working. I love creating. It just takes my mind. And then when you're all here as well, it just makes it extra fun. Makes it extra fun if you're all here as well. So I'm just adding the shading around the pot. Because when we have designs in it, then every time we open it, we get inspired to do more. Exactly, Belinda. And I want you to use your stamps. I don't want you to leave them gathering dust. Because if you're going to leave them gathering dust, don't buy them. You want to be using them. You don't want them to be gathering dust. That's not what you want. So I've just added some shading around the pots. Now, some of you might want to add shading around your poppies. I don't want to do that because I'm going for a more delicate look to the poppies. I don't want the poppies to look too in your face, if that makes sense. So if you want to add shading around your poppies, then you can. That's entirely up to you. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to take stamp set 438, the ephemera digits, and I'm just going to add a few numbers. Oh, thank you, Jill. I'm just going to add a few numbers just to my page. And again, I'm doing what you shouldn't do. Don't add your ink pad over your page. I'm just going to add some numbers just to my page. Just to add a few little touches, just to finish it off. I'm not going to overpower it, I'm just finishing it off. What does Belinda say? I've also been doing a touch of scrapbooking type journals. That's a good idea, Belinda. That's a good idea. And you're using your products as well. You're using them. The reason I'm adding these numbers, the reason I'm adding the numbers is because I've added the black washi tape. I don't want it to look like I've just dumped the black washi tape. I want it to look like the washi tape was also part of my design, and that's why I'm bringing in some of the little black numbers just so that it looks like it was part of my design. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my black Posca pen and add some black splatters, but again, I don't want anything that's going to overpower my page. I just want delicate little splatters. I don't want anything that's going to overpower my page. I just want a few splatters. And then I want another plant word. You're very welcome, Marie. You're very welcome. I want another plant word. So where's the word plant? There it is. Just going to get the word plant again. Just off my washi tape. You're very welcome, Sheila. You're very welcome. Just getting the word plant. Just so I can add it to my other page. Like so. Just to add the word plant there. Just from my washi tape. And then I want a few splatters of white. A few splatters of white. So I'm just reaching for my pen. Just adding a few splatters of white. I do like the white splatters because I just think that makes the page sing, especially on the pots and things like that. And that is our pages finished. I don't go for pages that are too cluttered, so I'm quite happy with my pages. I'm quite happy with the way they've turned out, so I quite like those. I don't want to go too overpowering. What I think I might do, now I'm looking at it in camera, I want a word here. So I'm going to add a word there. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Think about what you're doing. I want to add a little word. So I'm just going to get a scrap of card. I'm just going to get a scrap of card and just add a word. So just move this out the way for the minute. Just move this out the way. Sometimes when I look at things, I think, yes, it just needs a little bit more balance. So I'm just going to use this word grow from the pots. So I'm just going to ink that word grow. And I'm just going to stamp that onto some white card. It's still not overpowering it. It's just adding a little detail. It's just adding a little detail to the page, just to finish it off nicely. It'll just finish that balance. Oh, thanks for ordering, Alison. Thank you. So I'm just going to cut out the word grow. Like so. Just chuck my card on the floor like I do. Chuck my card on the floor. Bring my journal page in. And what I want to do, oh yes, I want that word grow there. And now it looks finished. Just add the word grow there. So I'm just going to add that. The less it's in fashion, the more unique it is. Yes, exactly. So I'm just going to add. And now it looks finished to me. It looks finished to me now, so I'm really happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed the live. I'm going to try and keep you going all the way through lockout. Yes, it is. I think it is as well, Chantal. Thank you. So I'm hoping to keep you going through the lockdown. So we'll keep going with our journal and keep practicing and keep trying to improve. Oh, thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you. I'm glad you're going to have a go. I'd love to see it. You're very welcome, and it's lovely to spend time with you. Oh, it's growing and growing, a bit like me, Eugenie. I keep trying to grow with every page. Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you very much. I just think that makes it look finished. The only other thing I'd do is I'd just go round the sentiment with a grey Inktense pencil just to finish it off. And that's it. Oh, bless Mary. You can catch up later, Mary. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you all later in the week. Bye for now. Bye, everybody. Bye. Stay safe. Bye.